At some point, someone told you that saving money is responsible. Put it aside, be patient, let time do the work. What they didn't tell you is that time has a cost, and it's quietly billed every single year. You don't see it, you don't get a notification, but it's happening right now. Inflation isn't loud. It doesn't crash your bank account overnight. It just slowly makes your money forget what it used to buy. And that's why it works. Right now, this matters more than it has in decades. Prices feel wrong. Groceries feel hostile. Rent feels personal. And yet most people still think inflation is just prices going up. That's not what's really happening. Let's rewind. Imagine you earned $10,000 5 years ago and saved it. You did everything right. No risky bets, no spending sprees. Today, that same $10,000 is still there. But it's not the same money. Because money isn't just a number, it's stored purchasing power. And inflation is the slow leak in that storage. Here's the simple version. If inflation averages 7%, your money loses about half its power in 10 years. Half. No scammer needed, no bad decision required, just time. And here's the uncomfortable part. Most people never do this math because inflation doesn't feel like theft, it feels like inconvenience. Coffee used to be cheaper, gas used to hurt less. You shrug, you adapt. That's how the system stays invisible. Now, zoom out. Governments don't create inflation by accident. They manage it. They tolerate it. Sometimes they rely on it. Because inflation quietly reduces debt. When prices rise, old debt gets paid back with weaker money. The borrower wins. The saver pays. And who's the biggest borrower in the room? Exactly. This is why inflation is often described as a hidden tax, not voted on, not debated at dinner, just applied. And it's flat, which means it hurts small savers more than wealthy asset owners. If most of your wealth sits in cash, you feel it immediately. If your wealth sits in assets, you barely notice. That's not a coincidence, that's design. Now, here's where it gets ironic. People are told to play it safe by holding cash, avoid risk, avoid volatility. But inflation makes cash the riskiest asset of all. It just disguises the risk as stability. Your balance doesn't go down, your life just gets more expensive. Slowly, quietly. Let's talk about the part no one likes to hear. Even low inflation compounds brutally. At 3% inflation, money loses about 26% of its value over 10 years. At 6%, it's closer to 45%. At 8%, you're approaching 55%. That's not theory, that's math. And math doesn't care how hard you worked for it. This is why headlines love saying inflation is cooling, because going from 9% to 4% feels like relief. But prices don't come down, they just rise more slowly. The damage stays. Now, contrast this with the hype. You'll hear that inflation is temporary, transitory, under control. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But here's the reality. Once money is diluted, it's diluted. Central banks can slow the bleeding, they can't rewind time. And here's the quiet absurdity. You're expected to understand none of this, just work harder, just earn more, just budget better, as if budgeting can outpace a system designed to erode idle money, as if saving alone is enough. This is why two people can earn the same salary, save the same amount, and end up in completely different financial realities. One understands inflation, the other trusts the number on the screen. Zoom out again. Inflation doesn't just change prices, it changes behavior. People rush purchases, delay saving, chase returns they don't understand. It rewards leverage, punishes patience. It quietly reshapes society's relationship with time. And when inflation persists long enough, it breaks trust. Trust in currency, trust in planning, trust in the idea that tomorrow will resemble today. That's when systems get fragile. This isn't about panic, and it's definitely not about hype. It's about awareness. Because inflation doesn't destroy money all at once, it erodes it gently, like water on stone. And by the time people notice, the shape has already changed. So here